And now for our favorite time of the show, Witchin and Bitchin. The part of the show where we witches bitch about shit. And we want to hear what you witch bitches want to bitch about. What is something you want to bitch about?
I got to put on my bitch crown real quick. Yeah.
Ladies first topic. What do you want to bitch? What do you want to bitch about?
Oh man. Okay. So many things. No. I want to bitch about people who use self-care and divine timing as a reason to be terrible friends and irresponsible. Like, don't say you're gonna meet me at noon and then get there at 12:30 because you had to like use a bath bomb or something, or because divine timing made you late. No, traffic made you late. You live in Los Angeles. You leave an hour early like the rest of us. Thank you.
Fucking plan.
That
segues into my bitch, which we've already talked about a little bit, which is the power of intention versus impersonation. Yeah. I really, there's something special to be had when you can find an artist and really see what they have done with their creative prowess. And there's something that you can do that inspires you and you take it in and you create it on your own. But to exact copycat what is happening, there's no artistic integrity in that. And you can fuck the fuck right off. I can't deal with it.
I feel like people who copy other people are also late for everything, which is seriously my bitch. Like,
yeah, there's a parallel there.
I'm like, is my time not as valuable as your time? I'm sorry, I didn't realize that I set my alarm and woke up and got to where I needed to be on time just so that I could wait for you for an hour. And now I'm hungry, but don't worry because you got food for yourself on the way there.
And guess what? They showed up late and they got to see all the material that they can take for a later event when you're not there. They're like, oh, yeah, you showed up on time? Oh, well, we showed late up, but it's okay because I know exactly what you do, and I'm just going to repeat this process in another venture. Yeah, I'm over it.
That's our bitch.
Yeah, no, well, that's good. Well, that's perfect. No. That's no, girl, I got you. It's people who, okay, let's go on divine timing. That's divine timing.
We joke with each other.
We joke with each other all the time. That's why,
really, you're like, I'm late.
Yeah, but like, there's some times where it's relevant. But then there's some times where it's an excuse.
And it comes to that. So I'm like, okay, for example, like, let's say a gig got canceled and then someone comes in that was a later perspective that's seen you and was like, oh, would you like this gig? I call that divine timing. If your ass is going to show up 20 minutes late because you forgot to set your clock, that's not divine timing. You're an asshole.
Yeah. Or just made a mistake and apologize for it, but don't act like it's no big deal. You know?
Which goes to the next witchy bitchy, which I know both of us. Let me
adjust my hat for this.
Playing the victim. When you fuck up.
Yeah.
Over it. You know, you don't have to make a GoFundMe for your cat, Carl.
You definitely do not need to make a GoFundMe for your cat.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Well, it's making up too many excuses for your fuck up, and it comes to a sense to where they fuck up. Either they're 20 minutes late, and like, let's say that their clock didn't wake up on time, and they're like, I didn't eat breakfast in the morning because I didn't grab my fucking candy bar or whatever, so I had to stop. And then they're like, I didn't have enough food inside of my house. You had enough food, asshole, if you would have gotten food last night or earlier. So it's like, stop blaming other people for your fuck-ups. So it becomes into this like constant cycle of stop claiming it's divine timing when you should take responsibility for your actions, because your actions affect other people. And you can't blame all in divine time just because it didn't work into the other person's favor. And then you can't act like you have the superiority complex that you're king shit a turd island because time is affected by you alone. because other people are affected by your life. Either it be the gig people you're working with, friends you're going to meet. You can't blame it on divine timing when it just you're inconsiderate. So it becomes on this.
Yeah. Now, just since we're talking about it, because, and here comes the Libra again, because suddenly I'm like empathizing with the late people that I can't stand. I'm like, like, why are they late? But why do you guys think that some people do blame these things on divine timing? Like, I know for myself that if I make a mistake, I'm the first one to be like, I fucked up. Maybe I'll get defensive for a second and then I'll really think about it and I'll be like, oh yeah, shit, like I really messed up there. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect by any means, but I do see a pattern sometimes where certain people just always do. They play the victim. So what is it about certain people that cannot just say, I'm sorry?
I think it's environmental. I think it's how they were raised. I think that it's the culture that they were provided in, because, if you come from a place of privilege and you can pull the scapegoat and people just pat you on the wrist and say, it's okay, baby, try harder next time.
Oh, yes.
You yourself are not growing at all. And like, I can tell you right now, like, I'll just be completely candid. I have fucked up at gigs. Like the first 2-3 years being like how you said earlier, you were just woke child with the one dread going down. I was right there in your boat and I got a gig, and you know what? My intention and my focal point was partying. That was the thing that I wanted to do. And I've fucked up a lot of the communications. But the one thing that I know that I did during that time was at least accept responsibility. I knew that my intention there was to get fucked up. My intention there was to party. I was not there to do what I was set out to do, but I did not make excuses for myself. And it turns out 3 years later, that same person hired me for a gig because I stood up for what I fucked up on. And that's the growth within my journey. And I think a lot of people, because they have been pacified their whole life, this is what they have done. This is their default setting. They're not even thinking about it. They just immediately throw that out there into the world. And guess what? It's just a like attract likes type of situation, I think. But that's where these situations need to come in and be like, hey, you need to correct yourself. It's hard.
Well, that's why the Witchin comes into it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna kind of circle around to that. This is an interesting topic because if anyone who's listening to this does know me, Miss Mojangles, my like internet persona, or me personally, you know that I'm really not a very like bitchy kind of person online, because I am always definitely trying to see both sides of things and whatnot. But this is, I think this section, Witchin and Bitchin, is healthy. And I think this is really cool that you guys put this in the podcast. Yeah, and I just want to hear from you guys like a little bit about what this section sort of means to you and why it's your favorite.
Well, I think that also comes, let's go into divine timing, right? And I'm going to go into okay, let's circle back to toxic positivity, right? We're in a group of friends, and our gig, let's just like hypothetically say we're at a festival, right? And we got 7 of us. And this one person right here is in a 7-part routine to where we're all needed. We're all supposed to go on at 7. This person shows up at 7:15 and goes, sorry guys, I'm late, campsite, great shit happened, all in divine timing. Now, we have 2 different things that can happen here. One, we all as a group can say, you know what? It's okay. I'm glad you had a good time, all in divine timing. Or there's that one bitch, me, I'm that bitch. And I'll be like, bitch, you fucked up. I go, our fucking show was at 7. Your ass showed up at 7:15. Someone needs to put that person on blast. And so it becomes into a healthy differentiation to where there's a difference between being too toxic to be like, what the fuck is your problem? You're a fucking bitch, blah, 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 blah. Or saying, hey, that was inconsiderate. And you need to realize that shit was inconsiderate because your decisions that you made deciding it's all in divine timing fucked up the rest of our night. And so now the rest of our gig and our work that we're doing is now fucked up because now the producer that's watching us, they might not hire us because your ass decided you had to go fucking take fucking balloons over at your fucking campsite instead of meeting us at 7:00. And so I will be that bitch to call your ass out. So like there has to be a differentiation between being too positive and being too negative. And that's why we think that Witchin and Bitchin is quintessential in the growth of our spirit. Because if we're too toxic positivity to where we're like, everything's fine. No, girlfriend, that's fine. You showed up fucking 20 minutes late. We were late to our gig. The producer doesn't want to hire us and we're not going to go do the gig again. But you know what? Go do your balloons, honey. No, that shit is not okay. I'm a professional and I do not fuck up. So you will not show up to my gig fucked up or late, or your ass won't go to a gig again. Plain and simple. No, girl, I do not play. When it comes to my company and my name goes on it, I do not
so bad.
fucking play.
I want to work with you so bad. I swear to God, I think you and I might be the same person.
We are. You two are. It'll be Liam.
I'm going to cry again.
But yeah, I mean, I think like, yeah. The whole like victim thing. So people will be like, "Oh, it wasn't my fault that I was late," or like people don't want to take responsibility for their life, and you gotta fucking smack them into like their perspective.
You have to tell them. You have to be like, "No, dude, you fucked up." But like, what I like to tell people is, you can get better. So I don't like to leave them on like a negative note, and that's the difference between like being, you know, masculine and feminine. Oh, honey, it's okay. You fucked up. You're a bitch. It's like, hey, no, you fucked up. This is how you can do better. Because like, you need to give people an out. You can't just tell people, no, you're fucked up. You have to be like, and this is the next steps you can take to better yourself, to better people around you, so that we as a conglomerate can become a better unit. And that's what I think that Witchin and Bitchin is good. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think that's the sign of a good leader as well. Like what you're saying, like a good leader is someone who isn't like, this is what's wrong. A good leader is someone who's like, this is what needs to be fixed and here's how we fix it, right? And just the fact that, I mean, you both have a lot of experience, it sounds like, in flow arts and performing and gigs. And, you know, people just say, people get into flow arts and they're like, I want to perform. And they don't really think about all that goes into it, but you need a level of professionalism. You need to be somewhere on time or 15 minutes early. How about that? And you do need to not just say, this is wrong. You need to say, this is the solution. And I think that that's something that not enough people talk about. And actually, I will just say this as a solution right now. If someone is listening to this and relating to any of this, either on the leadership side or on the side of, wow, I am that person who's late all the time, I would say the best thing you can do for yourself, honestly, get on YouTube and watch some amazing videos, watch some TED Talks on how to be a good leader. You will learn so much about how to communicate properly with people, protocols for just how to be like part of a team. And I think that there is just so much we can learn from each other in that aspect. So that's me right now, taking this into this conversation. Like don't just be the person who is late, like be the person who is like, I am the late person and I want to work on it. And not only do I want to work on it, I want to inspire others and figure out like solutions. And yeah, I think that's really important. God, I just Libra'd the shit out of this bitchin'.
I loved it, girl. I loved it.
God damn it. God damn it. I just Libra'd it. But yeah.
Well, for a book I want to give our listeners right now, another action step you can take is look up a book called Finding Your Focus. Me with ADHD, again, everyone has their levels of ADHD. Mine is like way the fuck out there.
He's still functioning.
Squirrel mode.
But still functions. But like, if you look up a book called Finding Your Focus, that book really helped me out, and it helped me to like really identify these different aspects of my life to where I need to be like, okay, here's how can I compartmentalize my time, and how I can take responsibility and not blame it all on divine timing, because that in itself has a sense of superiority, saying my divine timing is superior to your divine timing, because that means that I showed up in a presence versus your presence is affected as well. So it's like taking the perspective it's out of your own world.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean that won't like keep showing up. Like even today, I was like, oh, be ready at 4. And like he was kind of sort of maybe ready by 4:30. And then like we didn't leave town till 5:30. And then I was like processing internally, being like, oh, my time was wasted. But like, was it really wasted? I don't know. It's just a level of being aware of how you affect the other person or the other people in your situation all the time. You know, it's not just about you. If you say it's going to be this time, you know, try your best for it to be that time. If it doesn't end up being that time, try your best to communicate that, oh, hey, you know, it's not this time. You know, let's do our best, you know, from here.
Yeah.
But I think it all comes down to communication, you know, empathy, but really just like keeping that conversation going and not blaming people. And if you feel something, talking about it.
It's the solutions.
Yeah.
It's the like, hey, how can we, it's the solutions. How can we do this? What is going on? XYZ. So for all our listeners, we want to put out there, A, don't be the victim. B, don't blame it on divine timing. C, get your shit together.
Fucking communicate.
And fucking communicate. Is there any other ending notes you guys would like to say for Witchin' Bitchin'?
I will add one. Oh, no, go.
Yeah, go. It's just been an experience.
Both you guys, go ahead.
That's it. Go in. I have nothing to go in for except for I'm just completely honored and have just been loving this connection that the four of us have had, and just finding the parallels between our lives has just been beautiful.
Can't wait.
Morgan.
It really has been.
So
I was going to say one added thing to Witchin' and Bitchin'. And this, I mean, I don't even know how related this is, but it's just a thought that came up on our conversation, which is that if you are a person listening who wants to do something, don't expect it to happen to you. You have to actually work for it. And I'm going to give you one really quick example, and I'm going to leave it at that, which is that, you know, I've been running Hooptown Hotties since 2013 when I started hooping. And over that course of time, I have had so many hoopers reach out to me and say, Hooptown Hotties, I want in. Oh, I want to be a Hooptown Hottie. How do I do that?
Yeah.
And I give them all the exact same answer, which is email us, hooptownhotties@gmail.com, and tell us like who you are, like what your experience is. You know, we always are like looking for gigs and stuff. And out of every single person who's had the expectation and saying the phrase, which I fucking hate, which is I want in. One person has emailed us. And all that time, one person has actually sent the email because
what do you mean?
I think that people, what I mean is that everyone who I've said, you know, oh, well, like, let us know, like, email us, tell us who you are. No one has ever followed through except for one person.
They don't want to put in the work.
Because people don't actually want to put in the work. Yes. Since 2013.
No one wants to put in the work.
One person has actually followed up with an email.
I can tell you.
We've worked with a lot of people we found, or, you know, put out calls like, hey, we need someone in Sacramento or whatever. But out of all of those people who said, I want in, one person actually took the time to send the email. And to me, that has been such an interesting thing to witness. And I'm a person who's not afraid to cold call, not afraid to email. That's how I've gotten so many of our jobs, actually. And you have to put in the work. And for me, as someone who works in this industry and in the film industry, where if you're not 15 minutes early, you are fired, you know, there's much more urgency and immediacy. Like, you have to actually do something to get something. And I think that people just need to remember that it's not just about scrolling and wishing. It's about actually picking up the phone and using it to call someone and communicate.
Acting and reacting.
Yeah. And that's my last witch and bitch.
That's good. Yeah.
I'm gonna wave this feather at you.
And a touch base, you know, like I said, it's a really special thing to find a partnership like you and Seth have, like me and Morgan have. And I can tell you from personal experience throughout this entire journey that I have almost had what I have with Morgan probably about 7 different times. And it just,
Yeah.
it's the exact same thing. It's the punctuality. It's the action versus reaction. I've gotten messages all the time that was like, I really love what you and Morgan do, and I have this concept. Okay, you have this concept. Tell me what this concept is. I am completely receptive. I'm completely open to it.
Where's the magnetism?
And
it's responding, and like that's what I like to tell
exactly.
like a lot of my clients is like, you don't react, you respond. So if you react, it's a knee-jerk reaction. My knee-jerk reaction is say, oh my God, girl, I want in. I love what you're doing. But like for you to respond is for you to actually work through it and to email the people, show your work, show your storyboards and everything you do is respond to these people.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.